Welcome to DoctorPipi's class guides for Age of Conan Unchained. This guide will be about the Conqueror. Now, I've been thinking a lot about it, how to uh, tell things, how to talk about it, um, because there are so many aspects to any class and to the combat system and to everything. But I'll give it a go. This is the Conqueror. The Conqueror is a soldier. It's one of three soldiers: Dark Templar, Conqueror, Guardian. And the Conqueror, in my opinion, is the most versatile. And you could look at him as the soldier in between the Guardian and the Dark Templar. The first thing I would want to talk about is um, playing your class in raids and maybe some groups as the kiter. So not as a main tank, but as probably um, as a player position that is more important, um, because in Age of Conan, in many fights, in raids, in dungeons, the kiter can is the most important, um, is the key position to in which he can prevent a wipe of the entire raid. So let's talk about that. I want to show first the spec. I call it the Kite Hulk spec. Now, I've made a spec in such a way that you could also use it for tanking in some ways, but the main focus on this will be kiting. The key aspects here will be full protection, full armor, full defensive stance, of course the cunning deflection. I've always I have also added goat, and goat should be in every kiting and tanking spec. Um, this way you can always, if there is any need, jump in and goat the boss or anything and tank the boss for an amount of time. Okay, I have added a throat slash combo in case you need it. The other important things are, of course, overcome the odds, which causes enemy physical attacks to heal the Conqueror. We have the Blessed Conquest, all in the Brute tree spec, which will make the Conqueror immune to any form of damage for, I think it's 6 seconds. And the last important thing in this spec will be the improved Furious Inspiration, which is necessary to use your Furious Resurgence during battle. And this fully feated will mean that you will bring back the ally with a high amount of health, mana, and stamina. I think it's full health, mana, and stamina. So those are the important aspects. Um, so cunning deflection as a kiter and also as a tank. We have the overcome the odds, which will heal you when hit by physical damage, and we have the blessed conquest, which it simply um, makes you invulnerable for any kind of damage. Also in this spec I have added the Lumbering Hulk. Um, the Lumbering Hulk as a kiter is most important in fights where you are kiting something, an enemy that is snaring you, because the Lumbering Hulk provides, as you can see, 100% resistance to snare. It's the only class that has this ability. It will slow you down 15%, but you will not be snared, so you will run at the same speed. Okay, so let's see things a little bit in action. I've tried to make this spec in such a way that it is not so much gear dependent. So wherever you go, you can use any kind of gear because you will have these two abilities and cunning deflection. So let's do some fighting. So knock him back. Also in this spec I have added one two-hander combo. You don't have to do that, but I would say it is nice to have it because it helps you to learn to dual wield um, while tanking as well. So if you can keybind a button, let me see, if you keybind on your keyboard or mouse a button that can switch between dual wield and two-hander fast, in this spec you can, when you are not kiting, um, you can fast switch and you can use a throat slash. That's why I added it, because you can use throat slash with dual wield weapons as well as the breach combo. So this is for a bit more for tanking. And it's a step. It's like uh, to prepare you to use it when you are tanking, to use both dual wield and two-hander. Okay, the next thing I want to talk, when you're kiting, I like to use the fortifying standard and vilification. And I would like to add to that, if you go to the spec and to the alternate advancement, if you're a Conqueror, try to get the Battlefield Commander as fast as you can. It's the golden perk all the way down. It's a lot of points, but I think every Conqueror should get this as fast as possible. It will overpower all the formations and disciplines and when you use them. So let's have a bit of kiting now to show you what I mean. I use retaliation, so I do a little bit of damage back. So here you can see Slave Master. I release a burst of aggression even. Also, when they hit you, Furious Inspiration triggers, and when it's at a maximum stack, which is 10, I like to use my technique, which will place a heal. As you can see, it heals 16-7 at once, and it heals 161 for 30 seconds. It is a big heal. So if we stand here, for example, and we let ourselves get hit, and the other players are being, I pop my overcome the odds, and you see my health going up. Nothing they can do. It's a unique ability no other class has, and it makes me perfect for kiting. Yeah, so they keep hitting me, of course. Don't forget to use your cunning deflection. And you see the technique. I pop it again. I get healed again. Now let's use our Blessed Conquest. You become blue for 6 seconds. You get no damage whatsoever. If you are out of abilities, then it's time to run. But usually during a raid, the cooldowns on these two abilities will be long enough to use both of them continuously. Yeah. Well, okay, we got rid of everything. So now that we have had the kiting Hulk spec, let's switch to well, for example, the armor tank, brute armor spec. I'm gonna switch. This is my physical tank spec in brute. It's going to change soon. You can pause that video if you want to. When I'm tanking, again, it is not really completely gear dependent. And of course I can't, I mean, everyone who's watching now, if you are watching, you will have different gear. So I try to be as general as possible. When I'm tanking, I use the burning standard and again the vilification in most fights. Try to use as many um, armor things as possible because right now you're in a, like I said, it's a armor brute spec. Yeah, the key points in this spec for me are again overcome the odds, blessed conquest, more points in improved throat slash for the guard of dancing steel, retributive damage. Yeah, of course it's a retaliation, burst of aggression, the heroic call ability. I added the volcanic rage ability. Don't forget the cunning deflection. And I like to use hateful strikes, 3 points. So, oh, don't forget your two-hander, dual wield. So let's see. I like to start dual wield, throat slash. Then I switch to two-hander. Retaliation you can use, burst of aggression. And you can, although burst of aggression doesn't work on raid bosses or even dungeon bosses, it does work as a hate increase. It gives you 10% hate increase if you feed it properly. And another thing is that when you kill something, the burst of aggression resets. So let's fight some heads here. Burst of aggression. As you see, the boss doesn't get knocked back. I place my heroic banner for damage increase. Volcanic rage increase. Let's pop my blessed conquest, get no damage. Let's place the fire banner for increased damage. Don't forget cunning deflection. Dual wield, breach, throat slash. There it goes. Once you're low in health, I could have also started my vilification. So, and now we can see I am getting healed. I'm healing myself. And more, what is important is that it's a passive heal, so I don't have to do anything. Once I pop it, it runs whether I hit something or not. As you can see, it just goes on. Irritate, of course. Now, on using hate abilities, you just have to learn it yourself. You can decide to use everything at the same time. I would advise to be more. I would say it's more productive to use them over time and not all at once. But that's up to everyone to decide for themselves. So this is brute tanking, the way I see it. And then of course we have the protection brute tanking spec, which simply moves points from armor to protection. And it removes 2 points from bonus armor because it's a protection spec. Also, don't forget the two-hander knockback. So you have two different. Also, when you are like fighting a raid boss, you can often use Lumbering Hulk because if you use in tanking, you don't have to run, and this one gives weapon damage, natural health regen, and depending on how many points you spend in it, which only adds to being able to tank in a good way. So yeah, this is gonna be the brute kiting tanking guide. Hope it was instructive.